Hi, Chevra. Happy Chanukah. There's a famous idea, one of the most basic ideas about lighting Chanukah candles, and that's the idea of mahadrin mina mahadrin. The Gemara tells us that the basic mitzvah of Chanukah is ner ishu beito. You light one candle per night per household. Then there's another level of mahadrin, right? To do like a hidur mitzvah, even like a greater way of doing it, which is to have one candle per member of the household over the course of Chanukah. And then we have mahadrin mina mahadrin with the famous machloket Beishamai Beit Hillel, how we do this exactly to be count up, to be count down, but starting with, we'll do it Beit Hillel's way, right? With one candle, then the second night, two candles, etc., etc. One of the questions that's struck me is, why dafka when it comes to Chanukah do we have this idea of mahadrin and mahadrin min ha-mahadrin, as opposed to other mitzvot? We certainly have the idea of hidur mitzvah, but it's not sort of built into the system this opportunity for a greater level of performance. Perhaps one idea is that the story of Chanukah itself involves an element of a mahadrin min ha-mahadrin attitude. Right? The Chachamim tell us that the Yevanim, the Maccabim, when they came back to the Beit HaMikdash, they didn't have to use Shem and Zayit Zach. There would have been other ways, because of the situation, to light the menorah with other oils that weren't necessarily tahor. But in fact, they insisted on using Shem and Zayit Zach, the pure oil that wasn't absolutely required. So they themselves showed, in that sense, that ability to do that. Furthermore, even in the war itself, in the battle, both the physical and the spiritual battle against the Yevanim, this idea of not being willing to settle for something that's okay, that's a ner ishu beito sort of level, but rather to strive for much greater than that, that's something that they were demonstrating themselves. And therefore, on Chanukah specifically, in commemoration of the Maccabim, we also strive to perform a mitzvah on a higher level, mahadrin min mahadrin. This idea, I think we can then use to extend to the rest of the year and the rest of our lives. The idea that, yes, at times we can sort of pass things by and be okay with doing things by the minimal level of performance, but perhaps we should think a little bit more about areas in which we can perform our daily activities, daily mitzvot, on a mahadrin level, or maybe even a mahadrin min ha-mahadrin level. Wishing everyone a wonderful, wonderful Chanukah.